You want like specific like current movies? The what was the shadow box or the white box or whatever it was,
I
the bird box,
Bird
bird box.
Box?
Yeah.
oh god, how was that pushing an anti-white agenda? Because it had Machine Gun Kelly in it. Okay, you might actually have a point there. Um,
You said what?
I said because it had Machine Gun Kelly in it. Okay, you might have a point there.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly's anti-white.
No,
No,
seriously,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, I know you are, but how is Bird Box anti-white or pushing an anti-white agenda?
I can literally send you like 100 videos of people breaking it down,
No,
and
no, no,
I'll
right, right, right,
and I
right.
will do
So,
it.
so this goes on to like what we were. Was this you or no? I
No,
think that was Apple. Right. So I'm asking you, not just like what other people say. This isn't how arguments work. I shouldn't have to watch 100 videos to get your point. You should be able to explain your point to me.
I changed my whole life when I learned to ignore them. I changed my whole.
All right. What's up, everybody? I have two people in here. I got Nemo, who is I've talked to many times, and I have my friend CJ in here. And they're gonna have a little discussion about this new little trendy video that's coming out. The short guy in the bagel shop who got just really angry for being short and whatnot. The classic Napoleon complex, and he got body slammed by a Chad. And my friend, I guess Nemo, is going to be making a comparison to some other stuff. So I'm gonna let Nemo kind of describe what he is talking about, and then I'm gonna pass it to CJ. Go for it, Nemo.
yeah, no. So I just noticed similarities between how that short man was acting towards the entire bagel shop, similar to how black people act when they perceive racism. And really, what it is, I think it's the main thing that's similar is that man's insecurity about his height is similar to black people's insecurity about their race.
All
But
right.
we're not really insecure.
Hello.
Yeah, he said we're
So
not
we're
really
not
insecure.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like things that make me feel like black people are insecure when like someone is called black and they find that offensive, or even if they're not, whatever word is used to describe black, then start to assign some negative connotation to the word and then want there to be a new word because this word makes them feel insecure. So no matter what, if we call them color, people of color, negro, black, you know
Pretty
non-white,
sure pretty sure it's just
whatever,
black.
you know
Like if you're talking
yeah,
about black
no,
people.
regardless, there be a significant portion of black people that manage to be offended by that, and that's because they're insecure
Okay,
about their
but
black.
like, what if you guys had like a word, you guys, you were insecure about that? Why would you like somebody calling you that?
Calling me.
All right, I'm saying that like, what if you guys had like a name for you, like, and like you guys didn't want to be called that?
Well, I mean, I think that there are words like that. Like there's, like white boy or white girl. Like people can use these in derogatory terms, in a derogatory way. The same thing, but like I've noticed that if someone says to me, "Okay, white man," I'm not, immediately sensitive about that. But if I had told you, "All right, black man," you'd probably like feel some type of way about that. And I think that that demonstrates insecurity. And I think that in this way that because this girl looked at this man a certain way, he assumed it was because it was his about his height because he's insecure with height. I think black people do something that's very similar, where whenever anyone does anything to them, they assume that it's because of their race, because they're insecure about their race.
We're not insecure about our race. It's just that we've been tormented like all our lives,
Do you get
torment.
what my point is though? Like for
Yes, I
example,
get, yeah, I
okay,
most definitely get what your point is.
yeah. So that's my premise. So like in the same way that he's like throwing the paper on the ground and saying, "These girls told me that because I'm under 5 feet, I should fucking die," and he's saying all this stuff, but
Um,
then nobody there said anything to them, and it's similar to like black people saying, "Oh well, these people think this and that's why my anger towards you is justified," and
well,
it's a
I
very
mean,
similar behavior.
so justified and like so yeah, I think that's a big thing that we kind of have to understand is justified or justifiable and like accurate are not necessarily same thing, right? Something can be justifiable and not be correct or accurate, right? I can be mad at you for something that you really didn't do, but I can also be, it can still be justifiable. So, like in the case of the short guy, if, he's had hundreds of girls or hundreds of people like make fun of him his whole life for being short, and then he gets a weird look at the bagel shop, don't you think it'd be kind of, don't you think it's kind of justified in being like, well, these people are just making fun of me because I'm short? Do you think that's
But
kind
what I
of
would say is
justified?
that the vast majority of those interactions, there's actually no evidence that it is because he's short. I mean, and I think that it's very similar with black people that when, the obstacles and the unfortunate interactions that, black people face aren't really unique to black people and that everyone kind of deals with them. But black people assign racial motives in an attempt to kind of like
We
exaggerate
don't
their problems.
we don't we don't really exaggerate our problems. It's like a real struggle that we're going through. I know you guys. I mean, like other people go through the same struggles, but we go through it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's just a coping mechanism.
Coping mechanism.
I don't,
What do I do? What do I need to cope for?
I don't think that
Like,
your
what do
struggles
my
are
people need
unique.
to cope?
I don't think that like black people's struggles are unique. I think that they're pretty standard. I think that just because certain things hold you back, I don't think that it was, created to hold you back. And I think that that's a common
Well,
misconception is
so
that anything that holds back blacks. Go
going
ahead.
back to yesterday. So I just want to bring up the statistic that was brought up yesterday. The black people are 15% get 15% harsher sentences for the
Hmm.
same crime and for the same history as white people.
Sure.
Okay. So don't you think
What's
that's
your
kind of
point?
well, right? So wouldn't that be something that the black community kind of faces themselves? Is harsher prison sentencing?
I mean, that's if you assume that 15% is a product of racism,
What
which
else
I
would it
don't think it
be?
is. I mean, there's a ton of factors that aren't factored in, like courtroom behavior, a ton of things. Just how courtroom appearance. There's a ton of things. Like if you ever been to court, if you piss off the judge, you don't give them eye contact, that could actually impact their sentencing toward you. And I think that I think that the black people could definitely improve their respect
So you think how
to
how
authority
black
and
people talk and how they dress and the fact that they don't look the judge in the eye means that they deserve 15% more time in jail?
I don't know. I don't really know what the word deserve means. What I would say is that definitely a contributing. It's one of the many contributing factors to why black people, on average, receive longer sentences.
I get what you're saying, but like, can't like. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, different studies have different stats. Some of them say 8%, some say 12%, some say 15%. You know, it's not like a huge difference. And if you look at Asian people get, I think white people get 20% longer sentences than Asians on average. So I think it's a little more complicated than just like, oh, there's an anti-black bias or oh, there's a pro-white bias. I think that it's a little more nuanced than that, and it's
Sure,
not something that we can just ignore.
right, but I mean, would you think it'd be accurate to say that black people get the what's the saying? The butt end of the stick or something? Like they get the worst out of
Short end of the stick.
short end of the stick. Yeah, you think they get the
I
worst of
would
it?
say probably in a criminal justice, probably, but they're prioritized and privileged in every other major institution in our country. So I think it kind of equals out. But we're getting off topic though.
Sure.
The main topic was about just that it was like this random short guy obviously feels extremely insecure about his shortness, and every time there's an uncomfortable situation, he attributes it 100% to him being short. And I think it's very similar to how black people act when they face uncomfortable situations or
Okay,
inconvenient.
but wouldn't you feel the same way if you were in those positions?
I am in those positions, and I'm not black, so I can't just cry racism every time,
We don't cry racism every time.
or I can't use the race card and say,
How,
"Oh, sorry, it's not my fault. I'm black." I can't do that. That's not a privilege that white people have.
okay, but we don't go around saying, "Oh, it's because I'm black. It's because I'm black." No, we always. I don't know, like where you got that. Make fun of that.
No, but like people pretend like the reason that there's not like fathers in the home is because of this huge conspiracy to take the fathers out of the home and like Yeah, and whenever there's a disparity, whether it's dropout rate, whether it's income, whether any measurable function or every objective measurable of prosperity, whenever there's a disparity, they attribute that to race, and that's basically saying the reason we are not prospering is because of ignorant interracial behavior or interracial treatment of blacks, which is something that I think is a coping mechanism to explain away these disparities.
But did you know that like black people have a history of illegal discrimination?
No, I do, and we could talk about that, but we always talk about that. I'm mainly just talking about like the black, like the phenomenon of racism being black people projecting their insecurity onto
No,
white
but
people.
no, wait. So you can't just ignore like the historical like racism, like he was talking about, like
Sure,
redlining and everything, because
we
that's
can
not
go
just
back to
projecting.
that.
Well, that's not
We
going
can go
back
back
to
to
it.
that, but we've already
No, no, no.
talked to it
Hold on.
though.
That's not going back to it. That is kind of like part of this conversation because you're saying that they're just projecting their insecurities. But if they, actually have a legitimate reason to be insecure or a legitimate reason to kind of be like, well, maybe these people are looking at me differently
Yeah,
because of the
okay,
treatment
so
in the
I'll tell you,
country.
I think that their insecurity comes from they look at black people like in their neighborhoods, in their city, in their state, in their country, throughout history, over the entire world, and they look at black people, and then they look at white people, and then they compare white history to black history, and then they feel insecure.
Really? So you don't think it has anything to do with like redlining or Jim Crow, like CJ said?
I think that those things make them angry. I don't think that those things make them insecure.
Um, okay.
Okay, then why do you say that we're insecure? Not insecure. It just makes us like maybe a little angry, maybe like a little depressed about who we are.
Well, yeah, I mean this thing of like, oh, black power is needed for empowerment. Oh, let's call all black women black queens. Let's do all these things. All these things
Who's
are
saying these
basically
things?
ways. A lot of pro black people say that these things.
Wait, what do you mean
But what I'm
pro-black
saying,
people?
like black activists, like Sean King, D.L. Hewley, Tariq Nasheed,
So black
there's
activists,
there's
not
tons of
pro-black people, right?
sure, whatever. I mean,
Well, I mean,
same
pro-black
difference.
people just sounds really dumb. Like they're activists.
This is semantics.
Sure, I guess.
No, I mean it literally is. But
Sure. I mean, it's like calling a banana, or it's like saying that's a fruit, that's a banana. Well, yeah, sure. But it's more accurately to say it's a
I mean,
banana.
yeah, I use that vocabulary so I can say there's white positive ideas, there's black positive ideas, there's anti-black ideas, there's anti-white ideas.
Wait, so you do think that there are anti-black ideas?
Yeah, of course.
All right, but which one do you think are more prevalent in today's society, anti-black or anti-white?
I would say that the hatred is pretty consistent, but I would say that the way that our society reacts, it's inconsistent reactions to the same type of behavior. So like anti-black ideas are, immediately called hate, and they're opposed by the entire society and all of our major institutions. And then any anti-white policy or idea is considered progressive or woke or whatever. So it's really, I think it's very similar behaviors, and it's just racial tribalism on both sides. But I think the reaction to it and which side, I don't like to use your guys' vocabulary, but which side has the institutional power, I think that's what makes it. I would say the anti-whiteism is more prevalent than anti-blackism.
So you think black people have the institutional power
Sure, yeah, definitely.
over white people?
Yeah, I would say that, like, our economy, our education system, media, Hollywood, all of these institutions are extremely pro-black and extremely anti-white.
How?
We are not anti-white. It's just that we are following our. We are like producing. We're
No, no, but there's a
going.
difference. There's being anti-white and being pro-black are not the same thing. So
Yeah.
I can coexist with people who are pro-black as long as they're not anti-white.
Hey, one second, Jordan. Um, dad's calling. My dad's calling me. I get what you're saying.
What do you think, James?
Can you say that again?
That I don't think that being pro-black and being anti-white are the same thing. You know, like you
Right.
could be pro-black and you could be preaching that black people have this extreme strength and that they're
Right. So
perseverance
the
and all these
problem
different
with this,
things.
I really don't understand how you can like sit here and with a straight face and tell me that like black people control everything, but I don't know what
No,
you're
no, I don't
frustrated
think that
with.
black people control
Or
everything.
black people have
I think that
institutional power in like Hollywood and whatnot.
I think
And
that
that's
I think
absurd
that
to me.
that our major institutions are pro-black and anti-white.
Okay,
I don't think that black
how
people
do
are
you
in
think
power. I think that black people
wait.
are being used by those who are in power.
Okay, maybe. Okay, so you think that like how do you think Hollywood is like pushing a pro-black agenda or an anti-white agenda?
Yes, I do.
Like how? I know you
And,
do.
or more specifically, an anti-white agenda.
Okay, so how?
So like they perpetuate the conspiracy that white people receive things that they don't earn or that they don't deserve, or that black people don't receive things that they earn or deserve. They push the conspiracy that white people have more in-group preference than other people, and that white people shouldn't have an in-group preference. They push the narrative that white people are the oppressors and that everything that white people have is a product of
Like
slavery and
what
genocide.
movies?
It's not just movie. It's universities. It's
No, so
celebrities,
let's stick on Hollywood, then we can move on to academia.
education.
Well, yeah, sure. So let's stick on Hollywood.
Yeah,
So I'm asking like what movies or what aspect of Hollywood pushes those agendas? Because you're making pretty big
you
claims
want
here.
like specific like current movies. The what was the shadow box or the white box or whatever it was.
I
The bird box.
Bird
Bird box.
Box?
Yeah.
oh god. How was that pushing an anti-white agenda? Because it had Machine Gun Kelly in it? Okay, you might actually have a point there. Um,
You said what?
I said because it had Machine Gun Kelly in it? Okay, you might have a point there.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly's anti-white.
No,
No,
seriously, how
I'm
do
just
you, oh,
kidding.
yeah, I know you are, but how is Bird Box anti-white or pushing an anti-white agenda?
I can literally send you like 100 videos of people breaking it down,
No, no,
and
no,
I'll
right, right, right,
and I
right.
will do
So,
it.
this goes on to like what we were. Was this you or no? I
No,
think that was Apple. Right. So I'm asking you, not just like what other people say. This isn't how arguments work. I shouldn't have to watch 100 videos to get your point. You should be able to explain your point to me.
my
I don't
premise
get how Bird
there's
Box is anti-white.
my
Yeah, that's why I'm asking
my
him.
premise is that the way that black people and white people are portrayed in movies and the way that the black and white conflict is
Okay, so
portrayed is
no. Okay,
white
stop,
people
Nemo.
are
I'm
the
not letting you get
oppressor.
away with this. I want you to
Oh
tell me how
my
Bird
god.
Box is anti-white.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
the one character who's obviously supposed to be the archetype of the old white male is they from the beginning they portray him as, I mean, just watch the movie. Watch the movie.
He
It's like
was just an old man that was
Wow,
grumpy
that
all
was a
the
great
time and he got
explanation.
drunk.
Yeah.
yeah, no, because this isn't going through each movie and going through each
Well, no,
example is
I'm
not
asking
something
for
that I'm
examples,
extremely
and
well
so
versed in.
hold on. So
No,
I'm
no,
asking for
hold
examples,
on.
and you haven't been able to give
No,
me
no, no.
one.
I think Bird Box was anti-black because he was gonna be the first, like almost the second black person to make it out of a movie alive, but they had to kill him. So every movie is really
That,
anti-black. I'm with what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Like
yeah,
because
no.
wait, are you saying because
I'll,
they had
like
like
I
a
said,
racist old
hold on,
man that
bro,
they was
bro,
anti-white?
bro, 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 bro. Let me say what I'm gonna fucking say and stop telling me
Well,
what I'm
no,
gonna
I've
say.
given you plenty of time,
Is
and you keep stumbling
No,
over your
you
words and
fucking
can't say
haven't.
it. All
No,
right, cool.
you
Say
fucking haven't. You've been
speak your
cutting me
piece,
off
dog.
this
Speak your
entire time.
piece.
So are you ready to let me
Yeah,
actually?
go for it, dog. I've been
What I was
waiting.
Good.
saying like 5 minutes ago is that this isn't something that I'm extremely well versed in. And if you want to understand this, then I will send you some videos for you to watch and then to go through all of these different movies. It's the totality of it. It's the society that we live in
Sure.
that does through our movies, through our education, through what is allowed in social conversation, that deems white positive ideas as racist and black negative ideas as racist. So if
So
you say black people are physically superior to
Nemo,
white people, that's not considered racist. But if you
yeah, it
say white
is.
people
That's
are
extremely
intellectually superior
racist.
to black people,
No, that's
then it is
extremely
racist.
racist.
Do you have Netflix?
Hmm.
Have you seen the movie Us?
More, yeah, that's another anti-white movie. Black Panther calling the white people colonizers is another example of an anti-white slur
Okay, but
being
did you
used
see what they but
as
do
a
you see
joke.
what they did though? Did you see what they did in that movie?
Well, Us? No, I didn't watch that movie.
Oh,
No, you
watch it.
just I don't know what. Then why did you bring up Black Panther? That was a really weird segue